So we're going to move on next to Alicia and Linnea. So once again, feel free to post your questions and comments in the chat or send it to the CDTRP Q&A, and we'll open for discussion right after our final presentation. So Alicia Murdoch is a certified clinical research professional with over 12 years of clinical research experience. Prior to joining Can-SOLVE CKD, she worked as a research coordinator, review manager at Research Ethics Board, and ethics and regulatory coordinator. In her current role as a Can-SOLVE CKD Network project manager, she is responsible for the Canadian Nephrology Trials Network and Can-SOLVE CKD Network Pediatric Committee, helping these core infrastructures move their initiatives and ideas forward in the pursuit of improving the lives of those affected by chronic kidney disease. Linnea Franson is a communications professional with a background in sociology, research, and education. Originally from Toronto, Linnea received her Master's of Professional Communication in 2018 from Ryerson University. Prior to joining the Can-SOLVE CKD Network as the Patient Partnership and Training Manager, Linnea worked in communications at the University of British Columbia. She also previously worked with the Can-SOLVE CKD in 2019 as the Communications Coordinator for the network. Over to you, Alicia and Linnea.
Hi, everyone. And thank you to CDTRP for having Linnea and myself here today to talk to you about the Can-SOLVE CKD network experience of embedding patient engagement within our network. Our office is based in Vancouver. That's where I currently am, on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, which includes the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations. We are lucky to live in one of the most beautiful parts of the country, in my opinion, with abundant biodiversity in the land and in the ocean. And this has been cared for by these nations for thousands of years. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. I'll just let you know first that Can-SOLVE CKD, for those who don't know, is a pan-Canadian patient-oriented research kidney research network, primarily funded by the Canadian Institutes for Health Research, or CIHR, as some of you will know it as. Our network brings together a diverse set of stakeholders, such as patients, caregivers, researchers, policymakers, and more, from a diverse set of backgrounds as well, locations and lived experience. And we believe that it is this diversity that is the strength of our network. And just a note too, I noticed from every network kind of refers to them differently, but when we say patient partners, we really do mean the patients, their family members, caregivers, parents, and donors as well.
Great. So patients really are at the center of our network. Our patient partners and caregivers across Canada really play a central role in guiding all of our activities, and their involvement ensures that our network addresses and respects the unique needs and perspective of patients, including Indigenous peoples. So as this slide illustrates, we do have two patient groups at the heart of our network, one of which is a patient governance circle. And this is an agile decision-making body that reflects the breadth and expertise among Can-SOLVE CKD patient partners. And this group is composed of patients affected by a broad range of medical conditions, as well as family caregivers and kidney donors. And this group provides input and guidance on all aspects of our network, from setting priorities to supporting patient engagement in the collection and communication of our research evidence. And secondly, we have our Indigenous Peoples Engagement and Research Council, which serves to guide the conduct of the network's activities in accounting for the unique aspects of patient-oriented research that involve First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Members of this council also include patients, families, caregivers, knowledge keepers, health professionals, as well as federal and provincial decision makers. So with these groups, patients are truly at the center of everything that we do. And this is to ensure that people living with kidney disease are true partners in shaping our network's direction and activities. So just a little bit to give you a bit of an overview of our research. The network's phase 1 research program comprises 18 multidisciplinary projects that span basic science, clinical, and population health research. Our patient partners really do work side by side with researchers towards the shared goal of better kidney health and care, and overcoming the challenges preventing the uptake of research evidence into practice. And as you can see here, our projects are organized around 3 major themes. And these themes were actually identified in collaboration with patients, healthcare providers, and policymakers over 3 years of priority setting discussions at our network's inception. So this is all just to say that patient partners are not only involved in our network's infrastructure, but they're also involved in our research program in terms of study conceptualization as well as the research itself.
So patients are involved, as Linnea said, in all aspects of our network, and not just in the patient councils and projects that Linnea mentioned, but this is an organizational chart of our network and the additional committees that oversee and run it. With the exception of the core operations team, of which Linnea and myself are part of, patient partners are members and co-chairs of each of these committees. We have our steering committee, who makes the overall decisions for the network, the research operations committee, who annually review the progress of the research projects. Our international advisory committee is known as CIRAC. They give feedback on the progress of the network through an international lens, as at arm's length. And this committee includes 2 American patient partners and 1 British patient partner that we are lucky enough to work with. There's also the Canadian Nephrology Trials Network, or CNTN, which I administer, and we are working to increase the number and quality of clinical trials in kidney research in Canada. And within this network, there are several committees and patient partners who are co-leads of each of these. There are lots of other committees and working groups within this within our network that aren't shown here, but one of them specifically is called the Training and Mentorship Committee. And some of you may have heard of some of the fruits of those labors. And they have really developed lots of the training modules for researchers and patient partners, one of them being the storytelling module. There is a KT toolbox as well, and those can all be found on our website, can-solve-ckd.ca.
Great. So in terms of onboarding, we are a patient-oriented network, and for us, this really means that the patient perspective is embedded throughout our infrastructure, and it has been since the beginning, particularly when it comes to our onboarding procedures. So as the patient engagement specialist on our network's operations team, I really work to enable and ensure that the patient voice is included in all aspects of our network. And I also work with patient partners and project teams to facilitate meaningful engagement both inside and outside of our network. In addition, we value the perspectives of our patient partners, and we listen to them to help determine what training and onboarding materials might be needed. We also recognize and allow people to grow into their role as a patient partner in our network, and we try to provide our patient partners with any and all tools and resources they might need to grow. We've also developed an onboarding handbook and peer-to-peer mentoring program as part of our onboarding process for new patient governance circle members, and these items were actually developed in partnership with our current patient partners. So we do really see onboarding as an essential aspect of facilitating meaningful patient engagement within our network.
And part of that meaningful partnerships that we're creating is also honoring our patients, and our patient engagement plan is guided by the CIHR Strategy for Patient-Oriented Research, or SPOR. They're the patient engagement framework developed by them, and our network has worked closely with SPOR and with the other SPOR networks to develop this compensation framework. So our patient partners are compensated in the form of financial honoraria, as well as obviously expense reimbursement when they travel on our behalf. But we also take the time to honor them through network awards, and we know that without them, we would not be able to do any of this work. And so we want to make sure that we always honor and thank them every time we gather. So part of getting to this point is the building of the relationships. And that's really the incredibly important part of the work that we do. And I know Davina kind of touched on this, but the trust that is created by the relationship will hopefully allow the patient partners to engage more meaningfully, and to speak more freely of what they feel needs to be done. To build these strong relationships, we feel that, first and foremost, there needs to be clear and open communication. We need to create a safe space for people, either in groups or in one-on-one if they feel more comfortable, to talk about and bring up issues or concerns. There needs to be no gatekeeping of information to ensure that the researchers and the patient partners all receive the same documents, whether it's budgets or proposals, not just receiving the highlights or the summaries or the one-liners. We really strive to ensure that the patients are treated as equal partners in this venture, because otherwise it can seem very tokenistic.
So we talked a little bit about building relationships, and another important aspect of that is maintaining them over time. So in terms of maintaining engagement with our patient partners, we do recognize that it's really important to keep up relations outside of formal meeting times. Some of the things we found successful include scheduling social events and team building activities at our annual in-person meetings. We've also held regular social check-in calls via Zoom, and we do our best to check in with those that are unable to attend meetings, whether it's via text, email, phone, Zoom, whatever is preferred. And finally, our operations team does make an effort to be available to patient partners on a day-to-day sort of ad hoc basis. So we really do try to be flexible and accommodating to the needs of our patient partners. And one thing I'd like to highlight here is that we are a national network, and we work with partners and stakeholders from across the country in various time zones. And because of this, our network was a very early adopter of Zoom, and we're also talking about this pre-pandemic. So Zoom has always been a platform that we've leveraged when it comes to building and maintaining relationships within this pan-Canadian context. And I think we've been a prime example of how this technology can be used to our advantage, especially when we're dealing with a diverse group of stakeholders with varying degrees of accessibility and access. So we really do see patients as true partners in the work that we do, and we make an effort to ensure that our patient partners are fully able to engage. We try to use accessible language and avoid jargon and acronyms to ensure that we can communicate clearly and fairly with all of our groups. We also want to ensure that patients have the information they need to feel equipped to participate in meetings. And one of the ways we do this is by creating and distributing pre-meeting packages that we share with groups well in advance of our meetings. And these packages include things like agendas and briefing notes for all of the participants to review. And we've also had our patient partners go on to co-host webinars, moderate Q&A sessions within our community. A special shout out to Mary Bokaj, who's co-chairing this meeting today. And we've also had patient partners step up to co-lead some of our network's internal committees. So all of this is to say that patient partners really are our best asset. We recognize that they come with their own background of academic and professional experiences, and we actively try to leverage this built-in skill set within our network. Ultimately, we want patients to be active partners in health research that will lead to improved health outcomes and an enhanced healthcare system overall. And so patient partners really are our best asset, because we not only hope to learn from them and their lived experience, but we also hope to have them become mentors and ambassadors for our work as they help lead the patient-oriented research culture change.
Yeah, so the focus of phase 2 of Can-SOLVE CKD is the mobilization of the knowledge gained through the 18 projects of phase 1. And there are no better people to help spread the word than the patient partners themselves, who have worked and who know how important this information can be to other patients. As Linnea mentioned, they have presented abstracts on behalf of the network at major conferences such as the American Society of Nephrology Kidney Week and the Canadian Society of Nephrology's annual general meeting, as well as countless provincial renal, medical, or support unit conferences. They have also presented on various training modules and learning tools that they have helped develop. And over the years, they've built the confidence and honed their skills to become our network's #1 influencers. And, oh, is this next slide? Sorry. As part of the research team in phase 2, patient partners will be working on the knowledge mobilization plan within their projects, not only co-creating the knowledge translation products, but helping to disseminate those products. We're looking to develop a research ambassadors program that would help to further expand our reach, to onboard additional patient partners, to share that knowledge that the projects have uncovered, and to inform patients that they can be a part of the change that they want to see in the medical system.
Great. So before we go, we really wanted to try to distill our presentation into some key takeaways for the audience. And these are basically the 4 key tips we have on engaging patients in your research work and activities. So number 1, we believe in developing an onboarding process. We did touch on this earlier in the presentation, but we do believe it's important for everyone to really understand what patient partners might need in order to fully participate in your work. And we recommend connecting with patients and learning from them as you build out your onboarding process over time. And I'd also like to mention that it's important to be open to refining your onboarding process as you progress and learn more and more about patient partner needs as time goes on and new partners join your team. So this sort of goes hand in hand with number 2 here, which is establishing clear and open lines of communication with patient partners as the foundation for a solid relationship and partnership. So this means creating and fostering a safe environment of mutual respect, and carving out the time and space to have honest conversations that really inform and involve patient partners in all aspects of your work.
And as we're taking the time to do this work, you need to make sure that we're honoring the patients for that time that they are putting into helping us do this work. And so honoring them with the financial honoraria, and just acknowledging that their experiential knowledge is valued, and that them taking the time out of their day or out of sometimes their weekends when they come to in-person things is valued, so it's not seen as tokenistic. And also just a reminder that relationships take time. We all want to feel like we are working towards something, and the best way to do that is to make sure that you continue to nurture those relationships, remain committed to building these relationships, and as Linnea said, we have built in some social time to try to continue to connect with people, not just on business matters, but get to know them as a person, because you may find out later on that they have a skill set you didn't know about that could really be leveraged into something great for your network.
So thanks everyone for your time today, and thank you for having Alicia and I present. It's great to be here, and we really enjoyed the other presentations. If you do want more information, we do have a website, CanSolveCKD.ca. Feel free to visit that and check out a bit more about us and our work. We're also on social media. I think we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're at Can-SOLVE CKD. And if you do have questions specifically for me, I would love to hear from you. My email is up on the screen.
You can learn more about CNTN at cntn.ca, or you can follow us on Twitter at CNTN_RCEN. Look at ways to get involved. We're always looking for new people to join us and to expand our network. And any specific questions, feel free to email me.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Really informative, and I appreciate the takeaways. I was sort of scribbling notes down here, but I see also that everything will be available on the website after the forum is done, in the videos too, so people can always come back and look at those resources on the CDTRP website.